Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Trader Pro Charts video. My name is Lawton Ho, here with Verified Investing, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about commodities. And it's been a while, about 5 weeks or so since we last spoke, you and I. I know the other traders covered it, but specifically about commodities. So we'll talk a little bit about oil, gold, silver. We can go into platinum, maybe Palladium, and we'll see where it goes from there. But when we last spoke, we were talking about the start of the war, and as you can see from my charts, let me get rid of this background. Okay, you can see that price has changed significantly since we last spoke, right? We have oil pushing back up, right? Initially falling decently, pushing back up amid increased tensions between Iran and the United States. And I know that they said, hey, we're going to potentially do a ceasefire. We got to get a deal in this certain amount of time. But right now it seems like it's going to be similar to what happened with the tariffs, right? There were going to be massive tariffs, and then there were no tariffs, and then there were tariffs again, and then we're going to postpone them and postpone them. And now they're just postponed, I guess, and we're not really even mentioning them anymore because they're not relevant and the markets don't care about it. But the war in Iran matters significantly for the price of oil. And for me, what I'm watching is this nice potential, downsloping parallel channel here on crude oil, right? You see it try to push up above there. And if you drag this up a little higher than we're expecting, if this parallel does form and ends up holding up, we're expecting some resistance on around 113 up here on CL crude oil futures, right? Resistance up there, but a good reversal signal today. We had a nice push up. We were up about almost 4% on the day. Today sold off about 6% and are sitting around 1.5% down from yesterday on oil, right? A big question is, well, is oil going to go up? Is it going to go down? And if you watch my content and watch me kind of trade, I love drawing these parallels. And even if the parallels don't line up, to be exact, they can still be really useful because at least you have this upsloping trend line on the bottom, right? And you can kind of see oil fighting and trading in a clear trend. This is what it's doing. It's showing a clear uptrend on the charts. And if this parallel were to break, if this upsloping trend line does eventually break, it first needs to contend with that $100 level. Let's say it pierces that, gets below that, and continues to fall. It wouldn't surprise me to see oil come down into the 80s, right, with massive support landing around $80, basically. This pivot low from just a few weeks ago, right? But only time will tell where oil heads as the war progresses and these peace talks, or lack thereof, continue moving forward. Next one is going to be gold, guys. And the last time I talked about gold, I talked about how we broke down and we're looking to retrace, and this is your shortable level on gold, but we did not have a full retrace to this trend line. If we use this trend line instead, right, use this trend line instead, and this is the great thing about trend lines, you can always adjust them. You had a beautiful retrace to basically this trend line perfectly, right? So this trend line, we've been hammering it. So bounced here, came down, boom, couldn't get past it, boom, couldn't get past it, rejected 3 different times. And we know that the third hit favors a pullback, and you see about a 7% drop, almost 8% drop in gold from this nice upsloping trend line. This trend line should still provide some resistance on gold. However, something really important to note is that the more times you hit on a trend line or a level of support or resistance, the more times you test it, the higher likelihood you are to break past it. In this case, push up past it. Another pattern formation on gold that I kind of want to highlight here is a potential head and shoulders pattern forming on gold, one of my favorite patterns. And you might say, Lawton, there's no head and shoulders pattern. And you're right in that there's no head and shoulders pattern yet, right? Not yet, but that doesn't mean there can't be, right? It just depends. The right shoulder hasn't formed. Left shoulder is not the strongest shoulder. I'll give you that, but this pattern would still be valid, depending on where it ends up going. And let's say it does come down and fall. We're expecting a move down about 37% in gold back to the $2,600 region. And you might think there's no way gold is going back to $2,600, but it was literally there last year. It was literally there last year. Now, do I think it falls in a straight line like that? No, I think you likely get to the $3,000 to $3,300 level before getting, finding a bunch of support with all this sideways consolidation. I'm on the weekly here. But if I go to the daily, you can see all the kind of chop here, all this kind of sideways consolidation, all this support right here, looking for a bounce there on gold if this head and shoulders pattern can break down in the next coming weeks or so. Right. Next thing I want to talk about is silver. Silver with a little bit of a different pattern, right? In the this is a 1 minute. That's why it looks so different. On the daily, at least, we're looking here on silver. We had this nice parallel that I talked about previously, broke down from it, has this nice downsloping trend line that we try to break here. We try to break here, try to break here. So that's 3 hits basically. 1, 2, 3, right? However you want to call it. And then look, finally breaks up, retraces this resistance, becomes support, and continues higher. But now it's kind of found a base at this key 71,000, $71 level. Let me delete some of these for your viewing pleasure. The reason this $71 level is so key is because you see all this sideways consolidation. When silver pushed up past this to the 80s, where did it come back to? 71. It came back 1, 2, 3, 4 different times. Pushed up to 120. Where did it find a base? 1, 2, 3. Pierced here, but still ended up green here. 71. And it finally broke. Where was it trying and struggling to get above? 71, 71, 71. Pushing up, 71, 71. And look, in the past couple of days, the $71 level is so very key here on silver. But let me adjust this trend line and explain why silver could be on its way up. If it can survive this, if it can stay above the key $71 level that I've been talking about and actually break this nice downsloping trend line, you are favoring a move higher and could easily see a run up to the $89, $90 region here on silver. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go in a straight shot. That doesn't mean it's going to go there tomorrow. But if this downsloping trend line breaks, it does favor a move higher. Next one we're going to talk about is platinum. And platinum has a very interesting pattern. Platinum actually has kind of a bullish pattern here. Inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder. Head. Shoulder. And what we can do is find a measured move here on platinum. Should it break up, you're looking at a move up around 25%. Now, do I think this is going to go back to the highs in January and February where every single person holding precious metals was like, I'm a genius, this can only keep going up? Well, not necessarily. But do I think it's realistic we can get a bounce up to the $2,200 to $2,400 level? Yes, absolutely. I think the range, anywhere in this $2,300 to $2,400 level should be good resistance for platinum moving forward, especially if this pattern ends up playing out. And then the last one we'll talk about is Palladium, and you can see a lot of these charts have a similar pattern. Palladium, similar to platinum, having a nice, and this is actually formed a nice inverse head and shoulders pattern, potentially favoring a move higher. Let's go ahead and check out this measured move here. That measured move would be a move up to around the 1950 region, right? But this is something we're going to have to watch. Can we break above? Can we close above? Can we confirm? Or are we going to get rejected and then head a little lower as long as the price of Palladium doesn't fall below this 1335? Should be good for a continued move higher. With that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe to the Verified Investing Pro Traders YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.